became a reality. Never in our life did we ever think that we could walk in the villages that our parents grew up. And that was a real, well, it's a reality. And that was great.
Enjoyed the cruise, and what I'm looking forward to is boning up on some of the history that I've missed before I came, and it sparked my interest to really want to return, especially to the city of Odessa.
Spirits of our ancestors, and God came along the whole trip and arranged all kinds of little unexpected meetings and family reunions.
Которые нас обслуживали так хорошо, и думаем, что если только возможно и возвратимо, может быть, в каком-нибудь году опять. Спасибо за все, что вы сделали для нас. Спасибо всем, которые обеспечили нас хорошей едой. Спасибо за все. До свидания.
Find our roots, but we found much more. And no, we didn't find, but my cousin found us. And this was the most remarkable trip I've ever had in my life.
Bus drivers, who are men, weren't afraid to ask directions like the North American men are.
Our hearts in Zaporozhye.
No, now it's finished.
Our expectations.
Wonderful experience of being a Mennonite. The food is nice. A lot of it is good. A lot of grease. The butter balls are really. The Ukraine is a very, very cultural country. The towns are very much alike, but they're really interesting. What do I say?
Experience being here with the youngest member of our family and the oldest member of our family.
We're very happy that we were able to see the way our ancestors lived in this country, to see some of the old buildings, and we enjoyed it immensely.
Expectations, and especially big thrill for us was the beautiful day and the trip that 12 of us were able to make to the former Schoenfeld village. Expectations, and especially the beautiful day that we had when 12 of us made a trip to the former Schoenfeld village, which we really appreciated.
It was special to me because, not having been raised a Mennonite, I had to come on this trip to make me realize that I now wish that I had been raised as a Mennonite.
Hi. Homes, walking through the streets of almost forgotten villages, eating home-cooked Ukrainian meals that are truly traditional, and making bush stops along the way. Aren't you just proud to be a Mennonite?
Yeah. I believe the only Swiss Mennonite on this cruise. A well-planned, informative, exciting cruise which has brought people together from many countries to a new experience of the Russian Mennonite tradition.
On this ship made a wonderful job on a 90-year-old man, Peter Dick.
Helena, and I'm cruise director, and I'm speaking now in the name of all the staff and the crew of the ship, and I would like to say that we are going to have such passengers as Mennonite cruise from May till October during the whole navigation, because they are great. And if they come next year, I promise to serve watermelons 3 times a day, starting with breakfast and finishing with dinner. Thank you.
Well, the afternoon was privileged to be on this Mennonite chariot of the Lord, which, with the horsemen thereof, which will yet victoriously drive through the Ukraine. To victory.
Rebuze, Russian rebuze en alles. Het enige wat ik me wensen wordt, want de hongers Het is zwarte meers meer kunnen. Dat mijn vrouw niet zij krank wordt.
Our heritage cruise does not stop here. The faith which has carried us this far continues to strengthen us and should be shared. Our experiences here should be shared with our children and our grandchildren so that they may continue to live with the Mennonite heritage in mind.
Okay, from Molotchna and Kortitsa to Kopenbur in the Dnieper Bar to rock and roll in the Black Sea, it was a terrific experience.
I'd like to review what I learned on this trip. At the old Neufeld Brewery in Hauptstadt, I learned that the word beer is Russian for mineral water. I also learned that the word Imodium, the popular diarrhea medication, is Russian for cork, although my father suggests that it is also Ukrainian for corn cob. And lastly, I'd like to quote my Uncle John Sawatsky, probably now the most famous Mennonite in all of the Ukraine, who stated that the Molotchna River is so narrow that it only has one bank.
A unique opportunity. We're the first persons, outside of a couple of historians, to view these wonderfully rich documents that are here in the Odessa archives. We're standing in the major hall of the Literary Museum. It's a wonderfully Baroque room, and we're looking at this rich collection of Mennonite materials. We're privileged.
Very much so, very much so. It's exciting to finally see the original documents. Many of these documents we've seen as copies of microfilm, but it's really exciting to actually see the originals here. And some of the things that are interesting to me are the drawings, for example, of some of the original school buildings. We have one here. It's a one-room school with a teacherage included, and it has the famous cornice roof form. Also of interest are the crests of the various cities that Mennonites lived in. The crest of Ekaterinoslav, the crest of Alexandrovsk, and so on.
The collection has an amazing richness and variety to it. There are records here about agricultural productivity in the colonies. There are lists of schools in the colonies. There are lists of newspapers that people subscribe to. And all of that tells us something about the educational level, the educational interests of the Molotchna Mennonites.
Exactly. And of special interest, too, are things like the wedding program for Johann Cornice's son when he married Teresa Thyssen in 1848. And what I found particularly interesting was that this program, a multi-page document, was actually printed in Elbing in Prussia.
That tells us something about the continuing connections between the Mennonites in Russia and the Mennonites in Prussia. When you're publishing wedding programs, it suggests a fair bit of traffic going back and forth, doesn't it?
Exactly. And possibly related to that is the sketchbook by an Agnes Wiebe from the year of 1865, where she sketches buildings that are clearly from buildings of Germany. And does this suggest that she traveled there? Or did she just see these pictures of German buildings in books? We don't know.
Yeah. One of the other things that was of interest to me are included here are the writings of Johann Cornice on the various native peoples of the Ukraine. He obviously was interested in their cultural and economic development. There are extensive notations about these people. In fact, he even published articles in some of the official Russian scientific journals regarding these peoples.
And in fact, there's a document that indicates the Tatar language, the words for the various types of animals and so on. These are all included in the presentation here.
Yeah. And then there are documents running all the way up to Mennonites in the First World War. This archive was officially intact until 1924, and so it contains a range of documents running from 1804, from the establishment of the Molotchna, all the way up to the early 1920s.
And of course, how they got from the attic of the Zentralschule in Hauptstadt to the archives here in Odessa, we don't know.
And maybe that mystery will someday be revealed to us, but for the time being, we can only be grateful that it happened.
Very much so.
The most exciting part of our tour, actually it's the second most exciting part. The most exciting part was walking into your father's village and going into the school as he had attended, walking into homes that he had been living in, that he had been walking in. This is the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
And for me, walking down the street where my mother and my brothers and sisters had walked was a wonderful experience. And then seeing the documents in here is the crowning. Thank you.